1. I'm 39 years old and non-binary. I do the grocery shopping for my family, my parents who I live with, mainly because I have the time, but also because I enjoy it. It gets me away from the house, and I'm a bit of an organizational nerd. I enjoy playing grocery Tetris in the cart. I like finding deals. I enjoy clipping coupons. I even have a list of each aisle and what's on it for maximum grocery list planning. So, my grocers know me. They recognize me. If they don't see me for a while, they charge up like my favorite auntie, hands on hips. Where have you been? Why haven't you been in to see me? I love my store. So, this happened a few years ago, around the first year of the pandemic. I stopped in to pick up a few things. I had written things down a bit out of order because I'd scribbled it while I was at work. I had my store map, though, and was consulting it when I nearly bumped into an older gentleman. When I say older, I don't mean 50s, this man was closer to 80. He apologized and seemed flustered, so I asked him if he was all right. "I'm lost," he said despairingly. "I can't find," and whatever it was he said, I can't remember, he'd been looking for. It might have been sugar or coffee or something simple like that. I glanced at my map to confirm before telling him which aisle. He thanked me and then, completely bereft and almost seeming to give up, said, "My wife used to do the shopping for us. 50 years. She's been gone a month and I don't know how to do this." My heart instantly broke. I asked him what else he was looking for. He showed me his list. I accompanied him while we found all the items he'd come looking for and a few others. It wasn't much. The bare essentials for a single man for the week, and we were done in about 15 minutes. As we shopped, we talked. His wife had caught COVID and fought for almost 4 weeks before passing away. I ended up giving him my map, hoping it would help him as he acclimated to his new task. As he headed for the checkout and I prepared to go back to my shopping, I still only had 2 or 3 of my own items in my basket. I heard him say to one of the floor managers, "That young lady right there deserves a raise." And the floor manager smiled at me and said, "Oh, I'd love to, but she doesn't work here." The old man looked at me, tears in his eyes, and thanked me. I told him I'd been happy to do it. I still am. It's been 3 years, and I still think about him from time to time, wondering and worrying if he's okay. 2. Okay, so I'm a teenager, and I work at this one chain store. But I've been debating quitting for months now. To begin, it's starting to depress me that I have to bail on many of my family events because I have to work. I'm 17 and it sucks when my family goes out to eat and makes fun memories while I'm stuck at work. It feels as if I'm always working weekends and holidays, and I just truly never get the time to be there for my family. It's almost as if I have to choose between family and my job. Yes, it is the workforce, and I did expect it a bit. But when everyone else gets time with their family, including managers, and I barely don't, that's a problem. Especially since this is just retail. To add on, it seems as if I just get the worst hours out of everyone. My co-workers all get the morning shift, and every other cashier works morning and evening shifts, while I have to come in early evening and close all this week. The thing is, though, I'm consistently the only cashier closing, and it is starting to drain me. Like I can't even get all of my breaks in, or just get a breather, because I'm always the only person in front. Even my coworkers agreed that my hours are the worst out of everyone. Like, yes, it is the holiday season, and yes, the store is indeed hiring many people, but it's only stock people that are being hired. No one is trying to work the registers, so everyone's hours are being ramped up. Speaking of the registers, every other cashier hops off as soon as I get on. Literally yesterday, everyone was telling me, as soon as I clocked in, that I was on the registers, and I mean as soon as I hopped on. Everybody else left. Like, I truly hate being on the registers, because you're going to be stuck on there because customers keep coming, and coworkers are trying to be slick and doing other stuff to get off. And one time I had an extremely long line, and I called my manager and coworkers to come up for at least 25 minutes. And no one showed up. I mean, I asked for assistance at least 5 times, and the store itself is medium-sized at best, so I know my coworkers saw the line and decided to ignore me. To add on, my job used to call me during school to come in. This would happen all the time, and they know what time we go to school. I just felt like it was crossing a boundary. Why are you calling me about the job when I'm actively trying to get an education so I won't be there for long? I feel like the job has definitely impacted my school life. I used to go 30 minutes after school to have to close, and that was horrible. I asked them to stop scheduling me that way, and they still did, even after I told them I couldn't make it. I asked to get into the system so I could change my availability and felt like I was ignored. I got my mom to explain to them that I can't work like that anymore because they weren't listening to me, and they got mad that I went up there and even got disrespectful with her. I really don't want her up there, but let's be real, it would have never changed. Like, if I can't make a day or two to change my availability, they will pretend to forget and basically ignore me, but will remember if I tell them I can open my availability or come in an extra day. I told one of my managers that I couldn't make 2 days, and she still scheduled me for those 2 days. So I asked her again, and she says, "Oh yes, I remember you telling me that." So why would you schedule me? I literally had to go to college tours on those days and just ended up rescheduling one of them. And then one time I somehow got on the schedule on a day that I wasn't even scheduled for originally, and my manager asked me why I didn't show up, and I told her that my schedule never said I was supposed to come in that day. We kinda laughed at that. Well, the day after that, I ended up leaving an hour early from my shift because my manager told me she would prefer if I came an hour earlier, since my other manager told me to come an hour later. So I assumed I should leave an hour earlier, which is my fault. I should have asked for clarification. But my manager, who told me to come an hour earlier, told my coworker that she didn't know why I left an hour early, since I didn't make my shift the day before. Mind you, my schedule never said I was supposed to come in that day. One of the managers just randomly added me to that day's schedule. At the moment, I had definitely let my grades and myself go. It's November and I have AP exams in May and haven't even touched my work. I'm online right now for my mental health, and I truly believe the job is holding me back, but I'm scared to just leave. Like, I did put my 2 weeks notice in a few months ago, but ended up staying because... I don't know. I was scared to leave. Update. I just ended up quitting. I had to work alone Black Friday, and this post didn't cover half the problems I encountered while working here. I felt bad for quitting without notice, but I stayed way too long there. Hellfreezer's note: as many of you know, I worked retail for almost 15 years. It chewed me up and damaged me in ways that I probably will never recover from. I genuinely believe my health is in the state it is because of the toll that place took on me, both physically and mentally. Don't dedicate your life to a retail job. Only ever consider it a temporary thing. And if you have the opportunity to move on to something else that you'd rather do that. We've all got to pay bills in whatever way we can. But don't forget, don't make the job your life. Don't allow them to make the job your life. Because in the case of our young friend here, it is a very common thing, I've seen it happen myself, where they'll assume that if you're younger or you're single, that you don't have a right to the same privileges that everybody else do. Oh, you don't have kids, you don't have a family of your own. Well, then you don't get to spend time with you don't get to spend time with your family at Christmas, that sort of thing. It's always assumed, and you've got to be firm and put your foot down with it. Oh, also, and this might just be me, don't socialize with people you work with. It creates a sense of obligation, of needless familiarity. It's the whole "we're a family here" mentality, and I like to keep work, or at least that kind of work, separate from your personal life. Doing the job I do now, there's a lot of crossover, but I genuinely love the job I do now, and it works very, very differently. I'm going to shut up now. 3. I'm a 37-year-old woman. Went back to work at a fast food chain while I was finishing up college a couple of years ago. I worked there for a year and got on well with all of the managers, including the store manager. I only quit because I graduated and found a job as a teacher for the second half of the school year. I went back to the fast food chain during the summer to make a little extra cash. My job there was to fountain, which means I made drinks, ice cream, took orders, and bagged food. This position is one of the more difficult ones because there's quite a bit more cleanup, stocking, and heavy lifting to do than any other position. I worked mostly with teenagers and just out of high schoolers. I'm a mom of 2 teens myself, so I get along well with the teens. One of them used to call me her second mom, but as can be expected, there was at least 1 or 2 teens that had difficulties showing up to work on time, and when they were there, they didn't do much. One such teen kept taking in double shifts, but then would go on 2-hour breaks during the busiest time. She would leave on break after she pulled out everything to stock and then leave it there for me to complete for her. I talked with her about it and she would apologize, but she kept doing it. I talked with the store manager about it because when I came on, we would be coming down from a rush, and I wouldn't have anything stocked and everything would be out on the counters. Both shifts have to clean and stock before they leave, not to mention keeping it stocked and cleaned during the shift. It was a lot more on me and made orders go out late because I was having to hunt down supplies to make the ice cream or even refill the ice cream machine when there were 15 orders backed up for ice cream. The store manager told the teen to go on break, causing me to have to stock for her anyways. And when she came back, she didn't let her come back on and told her it was too slow at the time and to go home. Not even 10 minutes after she left, we got slammed for the rest of the evening. I told her what the store manager said. Her response was, "Oh yeah, I forgot." I let it go. Until the next shift when she did the exact same thing again. Only this time she hadn't even started stocking. I was left without ice cream, cups, lids, cherries, limes, lemons, candy, cones, etc. I hurt my back carrying the buckets of ice to refill the cooler and the boxes of ice cream mix to refill the ice cream machine. I had already put my 2 weeks' notice in because I was having to get back to the classroom to get it ready for the school year. This happened during the last week of my 2 weeks. So, with the store manager's permission, I taught the night manager a lesson. I knew she would be in the next day to manage the store. I also knew they didn't have a fountain coming in until 10. Which means the manager would be responsible for the fountain area. I didn't stock cups, lids, limes, waters, or milk. However, she must not have realized why it wasn't stocked. She did it to me again after the store manager told her to not let the teen go home without stocking or cleaning. She did it anyways. It was my last night. She was working the morning shift as the fountain since the store manager would be there. She had to open the fountain. I did not stock anything. Nothing. There wasn't a kick of ice, cups, ice cream, candy, nothing. She didn't realize it wasn't stocked before I left that evening. I told her good night. She walked out right behind me. She still works there 6 months later, so she definitely dealt with it. The store manager said I am welcome back any time. I won't go back, though. I was having severe problems with my back and feet while working there. I don't have near those problems anymore. 4. This happened a few days ago. I work in a grocery store. I was working with a newer cashier. A lady came in a bit angry, saying she lost her phone. She said she was at my newer coworker's till and told him to check it. He checked the drawer below the register, which we put tags and other stuff in, but it wasn't there. I chimed in to say it must be at customer service. I assume another coworker saw the phone and put it at customer service before anyone could see it, because we don't want personal items to get stolen. When we see that someone has accidentally left their phone, wallet, or something like that, we immediately put it in a drawer behind the customer service desk, safe until it is claimed. So whenever someone comes in to find a lost item, that's where we check first. This employee was on the newer side, so I don't blame him for not knowing this. I speed-walk to the customer service desk, and the lady sounds like she's close to tears. "I can't believe I lost my fucking phone," she says angrily, huffing. I totally understand because losing your phone can be stressful. I quickly pull a large iPhone out of the drawer where we keep lost items and hold it up to ask if it is hers. She sighs in relief and says that's her phone. Thank God I found it, because it was right there and that idiot didn't check here. I was confused as she stormed out, not knowing who she was calling an idiot. After a minute, I realized that she called my coworker an idiot for not giving it back to her right away. Yes, I understand it's frustrating to lose things, and she didn't know he was new, but it totally caught me off guard. Like, chill. Please don't call employees names when they're simply trying to help you. Also, no one knows how to use a debit machine for some reason. Most of these people are just oddly aggressive. A shocking amount of people are so impatient. I've seen people shove their card in and pull it out while the screen is still loading, saying, "It's not working." I've seen people slap the tap area with their card and immediately put it back in their wallet and try to leave. But the machine is a bit slow, so that never works. Also, just a reminder, when you use your card to tap, hold it on the icon of a hand tapping a card. I don't know if this is something people just miss, or if it's not widespread knowledge. Lots of people wave it around wildly, sliding it up and down or side to side, or do it at the bottom of the machine. This leads to the machine declining their first attempt to tap. And most people say, "Oh, my card isn't working." No, ma'am, it's working. You just need to hold your card still, please. I always say, "Oh, all these card readers are a bit different and picky," and the customer agrees. Maybe I'm just on autopilot mode and don't realize people get super nervous paying for items. 5. For good clarification, I work in a well-known bookstore in my country. My uniform is a white blouse with a cactus green fabric apron with the name of the bookstore embroidered on it. I usually wear a bun. Normally on my lunch break, I usually go to the cafe next to the bookstore. I'm already a regular customer, and both the owner and most of the employees know me by name. Keeping that in mind, the situation was this. I went on my lunch break as I normally do, as it's really close and I don't see the point in taking off my apron. I joined the queue for my much-desired snack and tea. When I finished my order, I sat down next to the counter and started talking to one of the people in charge. We were talking about some books that had arrived and were from a new collection he was waiting for, when suddenly Karen appears next to me and starts shouting like, "Why are you chatting when you should be serving me?" I honestly don't understand these people. She continued shouting and drawing the attention of the entire establishment. I looked at the worker next to me, and we didn't understand. But when Karen pulled me over, she was sitting on a bench, and started shouting about how useless I was and that she was going to report me to my boss, it must have taken about 10 minutes for me to react. "Ma'am, there must be something wrong. I don't work here."
"What BS? I saw you chatting. How can you stay here chatting while I'm waiting for more than 30 minutes for my order?"
I realized then that this woman was crazy. And then some of the employees started trying to convince Karen that I explicitly didn't work there. And ironically, the only argument she had was,
"She has a bun and wears an apron."
I believe I saw several people laughing at the situation. After a few long minutes, she got upset and said she wanted to talk to the boss, but Arthur, a young man in his 50s, appeared and started talking to Karen, who still insisted that I was an employee there. And then Arthur sent her out, handing her her money back, and pushed her outside the cafe, while she was shouting that she was going to call the police. Poor Karen. The cafe has internal cameras, and there were several customers in the store, including my manager, who, when we started to return to the bookstore, laughed at the situation, and the coffee discussion became a topic of conversation throughout the week. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, episode 189, and thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, I would appreciate it if you press the like button, because YouTube loves it when you do that. Also, if you'd like to get the videos a little bit early, then you can support me through my Patreon, which is linked in the description. That is Hellfreezer on Patreon. You'll also find a link there to the Hellfreezer merchandise store to get yourself some hoodies, t-shirts, and caps, that sort of thing. I think there's mugs. There might not be caps, I'd have to check. There's definitely mugs. And if supporting on a monthly basis doesn't ring your bell, then you have the option of pressing that little heart with a $sign in the middle there, and you can make one-off donations whenever you'd like. You can do that during streams and videos like this one. And while you don't have to do this, I very much appreciate it, and you've been helping me out a lot. More than people that should be helping me, really. But we won't get into that. Don't ever loan family money. And before we go, we have a little birthday shout-out to give to ArkyGirl1966. I hope you have a great birthday, and make sure you're taking lots of time to celebrate. And you can celebrate right all the way into January, since it's late in the month. It's important to take as much time as you can to celebrate your birthday. I mean, if you don't, no one else is going to, are they? Okay, before I go, I'll sing Happy Birthday, if I may. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Arky girl. Happy birthday to you. Alrighty, now let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is: those of you who do holiday food, whether you celebrate the holiday or not, what do you like to have? For me, for years, it used to be a turkey, but then my body decided, you know what, that turkey, you're not having that anymore. You're not enjoying that anymore. So I would have steak. I'm probably not going to bother this year. I'm just kind of not really feeling it, to be honest with you. I'll definitely make dinner, obviously. I mean, food good. But I'm not doing it up. I'm not really planning on it, getting all the things. I'd usually get like a list of things I'd have to get. I'd get shortbread, Madeira cake, mince pies. I'd usually get like a tub of chocolates and things. After eights were always essential in my family household when I was growing up. But I'm just not feeling it this year. I don't know. The festive spirits escaped me, I suppose. But I look forward to seeing all your lovely and yummy ideas in a comment below, if you're willing to share. You don't have to share recipes, but I won't stop you. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.